Hello, AOM families. This is Mrs. Flowers, and I am here to present our hybrid return to school student and family handbook. So I'm going to get right to it and show you each of these pieces. You'll also have this in a PDF for you to look at if you don't want to do the video. This is very similar to our December video in preparation for a January opening, which didn't happen. There are a few changes, especially to the schedule. So you want to make sure you're looking at the bell schedule. If not in this video, then certainly in the PDF. If your child is in special day class, you will get a different handbook. So make sure you look for that in an email from your teacher. When do we go back? That's the biggest question right now. We are waiting for approval for a couple of requests to the county and state health officials, and we could get that approval as early as March 1st, or a little bit before March 1st, so we could open as early as March 1st. If that approval does not come on March 1st, we expect that it would come a couple of days after that. And as soon as we get the approval, then we are going to open, and that will be within pretty quick, like within a few days. So we're asking families to kind of plan ahead, and that's what this handbook is for, so that you can plan ahead. The table of contents is pretty self-explanatory, helps you navigate. So let's start with that school schedule because that's the one that's changed up. Okay, so our teachers will now be live streaming all of their classes. So that means that the bell schedule that we are currently using, the 90-10, 90-10, 90, will be the one that we use when we come back hybrid. So I'm going to take you through both, all three of the hybrid schedules so that you can see them. So if you chose to have your student return to school hybrid and they are in group A, which you will get a reminder email about, then they will use the group A schedule. That means they will physically come on campus Monday and Tuesday. They'll start arriving on campus at about 7:25, and they will go to their first class and be ready for instruction at 7:50, and they will have live instruction from the teacher. Meanwhile, the teacher will have cameras in her classroom, his or her classroom, and will be live streaming that instruction to the group B and distance learning kids who are still at home. So they'll go through their day. And remember, this is the same bell schedule that we have right now. 90 minutes of instruction, 10-minute break, 90 minutes of instruction, 10-minute break, 90 minutes of instruction, and then grab and go lunch. After lunch, there is an intervention block of time. So from home, students can participate in intervention. That's when their teacher's available if they have questions or need review. But teachers might also schedule specific interventions for students who need to reteach. And then Wednesdays will look exactly the same as they do now, meaning that there'll be students will be at home, and there'll be an advisory time from 9 to 9:30, and then the remainder of the day is teacher office hours and asynchronous work. For our group A kids, they will stay home on Thursday and Friday, but they'll still need to open their computers and be ready to go at 7:50 and get that live streaming from their teacher's classroom. So they'll be the ones who are watching the instruction as the other kids are at school getting the instruction. And that's what hybrid schedule B looks like. So you can see for this one, schedule group B will be on campus on Thursday and Friday. Same thing. They'll arrive at school and head directly to their classrooms and then do the 90-10 and on through the day. And intervention in the afternoon is for everyone. So whether you were at school that day or you were at home that day, that intervention time is for everyone from home. If you chose to have your students in distance learning permanent, or what we call group C on our paperwork, that means that all 4 of the days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, they will be at home and they will be getting the live streaming instruction from their teacher's classroom. Wednesday will look the same as it does for everyone. Okay. So what's your group? So this is a reminder on how to find your group, and that's on this next slide. You're going to go to your Aries parent portal. You're going to go to the demographics, and then to the very bottom right-hand side, or pretty close to that, and it says schedule group, and it will show you what group you're in on that one. You're going to get an opportunity, well, depending on when you view this video, so it'll be the week before March 1st. So where you can change your mind. If you're like, oh, I wanted to do distance learning permanent, but now I think I want to have my child go ahead and go back to school. So you'll have that opportunity to push that information again to us through a little survey into Aries. But as I'll state later on in the video, it's okay if you change your mind. Distance learning and into hybrid or back and forth. We just need to know if things change for your family. Okay, so here we go. Can you change between the two hybrid groups? Okay, so let me be clear on this. There's two groups of kids that are coming, the A group and the B group. They're both physically coming on campus. You cannot switch between A and B. It's just not logistically possible for us to do that work, okay? But you can switch between distance learning permanent and hybrid. So you'll be able to, you can it's more fluid, that back and forthness. We just need to know. And I have your counselors or school counselors' emails here at the bottom of this slide. So if you need to communicate with them, you can do that. Okay. So here's a place for students to actually open up their schedules on here. So like my daughter is in group B, I would click on here, and I'll go ahead and do this so you can see. I'll click on here, and it's going to force me to make a copy of the schedule, or force her to make a copy of the schedule. And then I would be able to go in here and put her first period teacher's name. So she has Miss Williams first period. And so I would type in Williams and then the room number. And you might say to yourself, but I don't know the room number. I don't know where I'm going to go on campus, Mrs. Flowers. Well, there's two places that you can find that information. You can find it on Aries, but you can also, because you know your teacher's, what do you call it? You know your teacher's names, you can just go and look at the map. So back on this slide, if you are not sure what your teacher's room number is, I put a map on here for you. And so if I am a sixth grader and I know I have Miss Williams, oh, actually, she doesn't have Mrs. Williams first period. It's Mrs. Anderson. Sorry, it's Anderson first period. She'll go to say, oh, it's Mrs. Anderson. I can see where it is on the map, and it's 1302, and I can actually type in that information on the schedule. Don't tell her I messed that up, or Mrs. Anderson. Okay, so that's how you can go through and you can find it. But also the room numbers are in Aries on the parent portal and on the students portal, where they can see, and it says their room number. Okay, so you can have Miss Williams when she goes to 7th grade. Okay, so here's the learning calendar for March. You remember how in January and February we had a lot of days off and everything got moved around? Well, March is just about as boring as it can be. It's consistent, it's the same, and that's good because we need a little bit of that in our funny lives. When we get to April, that'll be weird because that has spring break in it. I think spring breaks in April. So we'll put out another learning calendar for April so that folks know where they're supposed to be and at what times. Okay. Your arrival to school, you're going to make sure you bring a full water bottle. Right now we have one water bottle filling station. The drinking fountains are not on, so you have to bring a water bottle. Now, if you drink all your water, of course, you can get some more, or if for some reason you forgot to fill up your water bottle, you can get that at the fill up at the water bottle filling station. Of course, you need to bring your mask and bring yourself ready to learn. have to maintain that social distancing when you enter campus and throughout your whole day. And we'll have you come in through assigned gates now because there should be about 400 kids each day coming on campus. Okay. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so the next slide talks about that staggered arrival. This is to ease congestion for everyone. So hopefully you can manage this on your arrival to campus. So we would like folks whose last names start through A through I to start arriving on campus at 7:28. Just like we asked before, the arrivals to campus are going to be at the top of Ambrosia. So you will not even enter the AOM, AOE driveway. No need to enter at all. You just take your student up to the top of Ambrosia. You drop off on the east side of Ambrosia, and kids walk down the steps. It's a little good morning, pretty easy workout because it's all downstairs. And then J through Q from 7:33 to 7:38, and R through Z from 7:38 to 7:43. That'll give students plenty of time, even if they're R through Z, to get on campus, get to the place where they need to be, and be ready for learning. Okay. This might be different than your departure time back in a year ago. So you need to kind of fix that. Oh, and I see right there I have a mistake. Your school day does not start at 8 a.m. Your school day starts at 7:50. So I'll go back and make sure that is different. That is changed. So disregard that one. Okay, you have to drop off on Ambrosia Lane unless your child is a student with special needs, in which case they would have a special parking lot pass, or if your student has a large musical instrument like a bass or a tuba. And in that case, they will also have a parking lot pass that is given to them by their teachers. So other than that, you need to plan not even to enter the driveway. We've got AOE parents who have to drop off like within a few minutes after us. It's just not going to be something that we want to bog down. And we've been doing it now, drop off up at the top, and it's gone really, really smoothly. Granted, there's fewer students coming in, but Ambrosia is a very long lane, so you can drop off lots along the way. But you can only drop off on the school side or the east side of Ambrosia. The reason for that is if I have to cross kids across Ambrosia Lane, that is going to bog traffic down like crazy. So this is part of that planning ahead. Look and see how your path to school or how you navigate to school, because it needs to change so that you're coming along Ambrosia from the south to the north, so you can drop off on the east side of Ambrosia, so the school side of Ambrosia. That's very important, and once folks figured that out last week, everything went a lot faster. Here is a picture of what we're asking for. So you're going to drop off on the school side, which is the area in green. You're not going to come in the driveway, and you're not going to drop off on the opposite side because we are not using that crosswalk. Okay. Okay, arriving to school, students are going to use 3 different gates, and this is to ease congestion into schools. So our 8th graders will use the one down by the courtyard. Our 7th graders will use the main entrance, and the 6th graders will pop right in when they come up those steps, or down the steps. When they come down the steps, they'll go right in. They're right by their 6th grade area. There'll be signs on the first day of school, and probably for a few days, so kids can find their way. And then you will report directly to your classroom. So there'll be some designated waiting area, but really you'll just head straight to your classroom. Teachers will have their classroom doors open pretty quick after we open the gates in the front, so you'll be able to go directly to your classroom. Okay, so just like we're doing right now with homerooms, that schedule is really tight, 90-10, 90-10, 90. So there is, in that 10-minute time, you're going to have a little snack and stretch, and your stretch is going to include walking to your next class. Now, that means that you can't use that 10-minute break to use the restroom. So you're going to need to raise your hand and use the restroom during class time. And teachers are going to do the same. Teachers are going to be having breaks during that 90-minute time to use the restroom or stretch or get a drink of water. Okay, so there'll be classroom procedures that each of your classes have. And just remember that you won't be using the restroom during the passing times. Let's talk about those passing periods. So there's 2 of them. Since you have 3 periods, it's the gap between them, okay? And it's 10 minutes long, and a couple things are happening in that 10 minutes. First of all, your teacher is releasing students from the classroom, around 5 kids at a time, so that we don't bog down the hallways. That'll go really rather quickly, so I wouldn't worry about that. And you should be getting over to your next class or moseying along, but moving along, and then having a bite to eat. It's kind of not a perfect setup to have this way, but if you think about having a small snack to tide you over, that's going to be the way to go, because lunchtime at 12:40 is a little bit later. So eat a good breakfast before you come to school, and then have a couple of snacks, and then you'll be able to have that good lunch after 12:40. Okay, so during those passing periods, as campuses are as classes are exiting, you're going to leave one classroom and go to another classroom, but it might not be fully exited yet. So there'll be a dot outside the classroom door that the teacher just asks you to wait nearby 6 feet apart from until the class is fully exited so that you can enter your next class. It is okay to have your mask off when you're eating, just so you know that, or taking a drink of water, or a sports drink or something like that. But right after you're done eating, you need to have the mask back on. PE and electives. You will have both your PE and electives, but there'll be some unique circumstances around PE and electives, especially when you think about orchestra and band. So you're going to look to your electives teachers for any kind of update on how you will navigate, how you guys will do school. PE is going to be a little bit different too, because we are not going to be dressing out for PE, so you'll never go into the locker room. For some of us, that's wonderful. But you do need to keep in mind, you still are going to be exercising. So on the days that you have PE, make sure you're wearing clothes that you're comfortable to exercise in, and shoes that are athletic, because you are going to be, running around. So that's an important part. Okay, leaving school, same thing. The teachers are going to release you about 5 students at a time, so we don't have a big crowd rushing out. But you have to leave campus immediately and through your same gate, unless you're going for a grab-and-go lunch, which we'll talk about at the next slide. And then when you're heading up Ambrosia, because everybody gets picked up on Ambrosia also, when you head up there, you have to maintain your 6-foot distance, even while you're waiting for your ride to show up. So that's the dismissal map. Looks just like the entry map, except for the arrows are turned the other way. And then you'll see the pink arrow over here for the grab-and-go lunch. So if you're a 6th grader and you're coming out of Mrs. Reese's classroom, but you want to go to the cafeteria, you're not going to come down this way. You'll cross campus over here to the cafeteria, pick up your food, and then get right over here on the yellow line. I know if you've never been on campus, this is going to seem a little wacky and a little bit scary for you, but you'll have it figured out, I assure you, by the first day. And once again, even just last week with our kids who came on campus for homerooms, after a day, everybody knew where they were supposed to be. Everybody knew the way, and there's adults all over the place to help guide you. That's that grab-and-go lunch. The important thing about grab-and-go lunch is it's lunch and the following day's snack. So Miss Janine, she's packing a lot for you guys. So if you take that grab-and-go lunch, don't throw anything away, because it has tomorrow's snack for you. So you just bring the orange or the apple or the bag of carrots, or the little pastry or whatever. You bring that the following day, and then you have your snack for those 10-minute blocks of time as well. For folks who are at home, you still have the opportunity to come by campus and pick up a lunch, and that's between 11 and 1 o'clock daily. Okay, so this is the gist on our COVID-19 safety. Not a lot has changed since I gave you the update back in December. You're required to wear masks, and it has to cover your nose and your mouth, not just your mouth. So the ones that slip down, you have got to keep them above your nose. A cloth mask is fine. A surgical mask is fine. You cannot use gaiters, though. That's not going to be sufficient. And the mask with the little circle portal is not enough either. You can use a face shield, but that's in addition to a mask. So you have to have a mask on. And then all of the parameters around masks are there on that link. And of course, you have to maintain that 6-foot social distancing. So okay, the safety procedures for students in the affidavit. Almost everyone has filled out their health and safety affidavit and getting ready for the return to school. But if you haven't, please click on this link up here and fill that out. That is critical. Okay, it's linked here also. And then you need to review what the signs and symptoms of COVID-19 are. And if your child has any of those symptoms, they have to stay home. That's critical. You need to take your temperature of your child every morning to make sure that they are under 100 degrees or 100 degrees and under. And again, it's very important to keep them home if they have any symptoms. They come to school and they have symptoms. We'll see on the next slide what actually happens. So if a student begins exhibiting symptoms, they'll be isolated, meaning we'll have them step outside of the classroom and we'll have them make sure that they get over to the health office where they'll be looked over and take the temperature, and then you'll have to come and pick them up immediately. Of course, we'll make sure that they're nurtured and don't feel bad about anything, but it's important, especially in these times, that your child not be sent to school sick. Staff have similar parameters as well. They'll be taking their temperature and wearing face coverings and covering their nose. Some of them will have face shields and plexiglass in front of their desks. And any signs or symptoms, they have to head home. So that's important that you recognize that it's not just the kids, all of us, we're all doing that. Okay. Okay, so cleaning. There's going to be cleaning on campus. So students will, of course, will do crazy cleaning. The custodians have a whole routine that they do every night that they clean. And then we'll do extra deep cleaning on Wednesday between the two cohorts. And then students will have assisting cleaning because they are going to wipe down their own desk at the start and end of each period. So they'll come through and they'll clean their own desk before they sit in it and then before they leave. And then when the next group of students comes in 10 minutes later, they'll clean it before they sit in it. So you can see that they'll have, it'll be kind of like a redundant, but importantly. Okay. All right. Unfortunately, during these times, we cannot have visitors on campus beyond the front office. And even that, we're really limiting. So we have, we'll set up a little kiosk right outside the front office and families will just knock on the door. We can see you real clearly through our office doors and windows. So that's good. And for the most part, any family member will be if we can, we'll serve your needs right outside that office door. And if need be, we'll have you come in. If you come in, you have to do a health and safety self-check and check your temperature. So we're really trying to limit that contact. And a big part of limiting that contact is parents will not be able to drop off forgotten items for students. So it's really important the night before that you're planning and saying, okay, do you have your water bottle? Do you have your Chromebook? Do you have your charger, pens and pencils? Do you have your snack? All of those things ready to go. Because when they get on campus, it's not going to be a drop-off zone for families, unfortunately. Okay. All right, attendance procedures have not changed. So you're going to call your student in absent anytime they're absent, whether they're absent from physically being on campus or if they're absent virtually. You still do the same thing. The attendance hotline is there in the top corner in red. It is really important that you actually only call your student in sick if they are truly sick. So if you're heading up to Big Bear to ski, do not say that your child is sick, because if you say your child's sick, then we have to go through a whole routine on our side to make sure that they're not sick from COVID symptoms, because that could very easily lead to your child being quarantined and not allowed to physically come back on campus for a stretch of time. So just say you're going snowboarding or snow skiing. It's much easier if that's what you're doing. If they're sick, please let us know. Okay, appointments. This is a really important one. We really, really need you to talk to your dentist, orthodontist, doctors, and make those appointments after the school day. We have a limited number of physical in-person minutes with your students, and we don't really, really want them picked up early. Now, I know there's extraordinary circumstances where you might be seeing a specialist or something like that, but really work with your doctors, dentists, health professionals to get those appointments after the end of the instructional day. Okay. I put here 3 o'clock, but really it could be as early as 1 o'clock if a student gets out at 12:40. And then they might just miss the intervention time, and that will be okay. All right. Okay, our school counselors open and ready for business, but most of their connections will still be virtual with students, but they will be there, of course, for our crisis situations. And our school counselors are important to us for so many things that they do for students. There's of course, social emotional connections and learning that they do, but also the academic and career and college readiness as well. So all of those pieces, and you can complete the attached form right here if you would like to connect with a school counselor. Our library is open and Ms. Laverly is ready for our kids. So they'll be doing a process where you won't be able to go in and browse and stand around and check out the library with your English class, because we don't want kids that tight and close together, but we'll have a good system in place. We already have a great system where you can either do the virtual library or you can make a request to get books, and then we will pull them for you and have them delivered. So you'll hear more about that to come from Falcon News. Okay, so your preparation for return to campus. Here is what you should do. Get yourself ready. And I think you should be ready by March 1st. If it's delayed by a few days, it's delayed, but be ready by March 1st. Make sure you have masks. Make sure that they're ones that cover your nose and they're comfortable. If you haven't worn a mask all day yet, practice, because it kind of can be annoying. So learn how to do it. Make sure your water bottle is full. Put your name on your water bottle, because there are going to be a lot of water bottles floating around on campus. You might want to have a small container of hand sanitizer. We've got hand sanitizer stations all over our campus, every classroom, and then here and there all over the place. And then think about your backpack and your back to school supplies. You don't need to go crazy. Teachers are probably still going to be using the Chromebooks, but make sure you have, a couple pencils and pens and notebook paper so that you're ready to go. Of course, you're going to review all those guidelines, and you can see them here on the right. Make sure that you've gone over how to wash your hands, your requirements for social distancing. And then again, very important, get that health and safety affidavit filled out. That is critical. And that about does it. So I will have a chat with the principals every day coming up this week before opening, so that we can make sure that you have opportunities to connect with me, and I'll put that in an email. And I look forward to seeing you guys all at school. Thank you.